History Inside a Nutshell, the show where we sail into our port of call discussing maritime history.
When I first found out about this story, I would never have imagined of doing a video like this one. However, it is an important piece of history which is unfortunately lost, and it just so happens that it involves a Kodiak camera. But since Jake has told me the story, I thought it would be fair if he would narrate it too. So until then, I will leave you in the capable hands of Jake as we talk about something special that could have played an important part in history.
Lost Photo, the story of David McCormick. Imagine if you captured a picture of a sinking ship, only to lose the film to the water. This was what happened to the Lusitania's telegraphist, who shot what could have been a famous photograph. But to understand the event, we need to look into the life of David McCormick, the man behind the camera. David McCormick was born in Scotland in 1894. There are no records of his life before 1913, but in 1913 McCormick joined the Marconi Marine and had served on various ships. In 1915 he was assigned as a junior operator on the Lusitania, as a replacement for a wireless operator who had failed to join the Cunard liner. Though it is suggested that he was paid, he might have signed up as a volunteer like other telegraphists during the First World War. As a telegraphist, McCormick had the task of assisting the lead telegraphist, in this case Robert Leith, to turn on a telegraph key to receive Morse code communicating by radio. Telegraphists had to provide a continuous 24-hour watch, especially since the ship was sailing into a war zone like the British Isles. During the war, McCormick and Leith would receive messages from the British Admiralty. If the Admiralty felt that the Lusitania was in danger of being followed by Germans or being struck by a torpedo. However, the ship had sent messages to other ships of the Admiralty. On the 7th of May 1915, McCormick was in the radio room. He and Leith were stationed atop the Lusitania's sun deck between the second and third funnels. When the Lusitania was struck by a torpedo from the German U-boat U-20, McCormick felt the impact straight away. Unsecured articles scattered across the floor. At first, McCormick thought that Lusitania wasn't hit by a torpedo, but heavy guns were being fired at the near vicinity. Straight away he started the motor for the wireless telegraph to radio messages for help. Leith, upon his return from a lunch break, began sending SOS messages. "Come at once, big list, 10 miles south of Old Ediking Sail." However, the ship's electric power was fading and soon it failed. Leith turned on the emergency dynamo, and with the radio back up and running, Leith sent 2 more messages. "Come at once, big list, 10 miles south of Old Ediking Sail." "Send help quickly, I'm listing badly." Suddenly there was an explosion in the main wireless room, and soon both apparatus were smashed. The men left the room. Having no other choice, they decided to abandon the ship. Trying to find a way off the ship, McCormick decided to take out his Kodak pocket camera. Saloon passenger Oliver P. Bernard described the scene. "One of the operators, Leith, offered me a swivel chair to go down into the water. His colleague, McCormick, took out his Kodak pocket camera and going down on his hands and knees on the deck, which was now at an angle of about 35 degrees, took a solitary snapshot of the scenes forward." Another saloon passenger, Henry Burgess, also described McCormick's sudden decision. "I went over to the starboard side and saw that now the water was nearly up to the level of the boat deck. The Marconi man came out of his office and at that time began to take photographs, which struck me as a cool proceeding." Despite the dangerous list of the Lusitania's final moments, McCormick excitedly said, "What a snapshot this will make." Following his quick snap, McCormick and Leith lost sight of each other. McCormick was immersed in the water, luckily escaping from the Lusitania's suction. He hung on to a collapsible boat until he was rescued by a torpedo boat a few hours later. The men were reunited at Queenstown, but following the sinking, McCormick was discharged from his service on the Lusitania. McCormick died in 1968, aged 71 years. Although there was a public inquiry into the sinking, it is understood that messages the Admiralty had sent to the Lusitania were never released to the public. The lost photograph would have played an important part in maritime history and would have been shown during the public inquiry. But because of the water destroying the film, we will never know what the sinking might have been like. Luckily, we have eyewitness accounts that give us a clue about what happened during that terrible afternoon. Perhaps the photograph wasn't needed, but it would have been interesting to see what the sinking would have been like.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe for future videos. Until next time, this has been History Inside a Nutshell, departing from the docks. Thank you so much for all of your support and enjoy the rest of your voyage.